Bonjour et bienvenue à Mercredi Musique. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de la chanson Plus tard par BigFlo et Oli. BigFlo et Oli sont français, ils viennent de France. Ils sont frères. Ils grandissent à Toulouse en France, dans une famille, et Toulouse est au sud de la France. Leurs vrais noms sont Florian, Florian, et Olivio. Oli, c'est Olivio. En 2019, il remporte 2 prix aux Victoires de la musique. Oh là là! Artiste masculin de l'année et album de musique urbaine. Alors, ce sont des rappeurs. Ils aiment le rap. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de la prononciation. So some of this will be review and some of this will be new. So an easy way to remember which consonants are pronounced at the end of a word in French is to remember the letters in careful, particularly the consonants. So C, R, F, and L, which are the consonants in careful, are the only consonants that are almost always pronounced at the end of a word in French. Par exemple, parc, so there's the C, parc. Cher, which means expensive or dear, cher. Now, there is an exception to this. Verbs, like infinitives, ER verbs, you don't hear that R at the end of the word. So, danser, chanter, dessiner, jouer, you would not hear the R. But if it's not a verb, you will hear that R at the end, cher. Neuf, there's the F. Neuf means 9 or new. And cruel, there's the L. If the word does not end in C, R, F, or L, the consonants in careful, generally speaking, do not pronounce it. Okay? So, anglais, we don't hear that S at the end because S is not one of the consonants in careful. Prend means takes, he or she takes. Prend, don't hear the D. Voit, he or she sees, so you don't hear the T. And beaucoup, we don't hear the P because there is no P in careful. Leçon et rappel, les accents. So a couple things about accents. A C with a cedilla under it. So the cedilla is that little squiggly thing that looks kind of like an upside down question mark or part of an upside down question mark. And that makes the C into a soft S sound, not a K sound. Par exemple, français. If I did not have that little squiggly thing, the little cedille under the C, I would pronounce that franquais instead of français. Ça has the cedilla, so we would say ça instead of ca. Leçon, reçu. So lesson and received. Reminder that an E accent aigu sounds like the A in hey. So fatigué, été, sauté, écouté. You will see that in the song later. Plus tard. Little pun there. Did you catch that? Plus tard means later. Yeah. Very funny, I know. Prononciation de la lettre S. So this is a really easy way to improve your pronunciation quickly because it's a very consistent pronunciation rule in French. I can't think of any exceptions. Maybe there is one, but I don't know of any off the top of my head. So one S between two vowels has a Z sound. Par exemple, chose. We have an O and an E around the S, so it's not chose. It's chose with a Z sound. Utiliser means to use. Utiliser. Vision. Organiser. And again, notice I didn't pronounce that R, even though it's part of careful, because that's an infinitive. Same thing with utiliser. 2 S's between 2 vowels has a S sound, like a slithering snake. Classe. So 2 S's. So chose, like a Z sound, and then classe, an S sound. Mousse, comme mousse au chocolat. Chaussette, which means socks. And possible. Okay, so very consistent rule. Verbs and the preposition a. So these are very commonly mispronounced by native English speakers because people see this here and they go, oh, that's A, because it's the letter A, and you're thinking in English. But it's actually pronounced ah. And this is important because if you say, for example, he is a dog instead of he has a dog, that's a kind of a different meaning. So you want to be careful. A is, ah is has, like he has or she has. A here, so A is I have. So j'ai une question, for example. Ah, pronounced the same as this. We don't pronounce the S because it's not part of careful, right? Ah means have, like you have. Tu as un chien, you have a dog. Not tu es un chien, that would be you are a dog. That's not a very nice thing to say unless it's Halloween, which it actually is today as I'm recording this video. Quelle coïncidence! And then a, the preposition a means to, at, or in. So that also is pronounced a. So a. Okay. Yay! Time for the refrain. So this refrain, this chorus has two parts. This is kind of the pré-refrain, like the first part of it, and then the second part of it is on the next page. So, bunch of things to notice here. We're not going to pronounce those final consonants that are not part of careful, like D and S. You'll see that they are crossed out, just to remind you. We will notice the accent aigu, A, on a couple of these. We'll notice the A, so I'm not going to pronounce that A. I'm going to pronounce it A. This is A. This is A. It's a little confusing, sorry. And then the other thing is that single S between two vowels, chose, pose, chose, pose. Okay? So I will say it. If you want to repeat after me, you're welcome to. Mais, depuis, qu'est-ce qui a changé? Qu'est-ce qui a changé? This is the past tense, which you'll learn about someday. What has changed? Okay, so this is the helping verb, and that's called a past participle, because I'm sure you're excited to hear about that. Pas grand-chose. Pas grand-chose. Make sure you have that Z sound. Je n'ai pas rangé. So A. Je n'ai pas rangé les, don't pronounce the S, question, don't pronounce the S, que je me pose, Z sound. Qu'est-ce qui a changé? Pas grand-chose. Je n'ai pas rangé les questions que je me pose. Okay. Second part of the chorus, I'm going to move this picture so that you can see the translation. On me disait, so get rid of the T. When you are saying it, you don't hear that because T is not one of the consonants in careful. On me disait, so it gets smushed together because of the rhythm of the song. Tu comprendras, this means you will understand. Plus tard, you will understand later. Tu comprendras plus tard, tu comprendras plus tard. Not pronouncing the D because it's not part of careful. Mais on est plus tard, there's that A again, mais on est plus tard, et je comprends pas. So remember we talked about in a previous video that sometimes the ne gets left out in conversation, so that's why there's no ne here. Tu comprendras plus tard, tu comprendras plus tard, tu comprendras plus tard, mais on est plus tard, et je comprends pas. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed listening to the actual song. And à la prochaine. Au revoir.